Firstly, we know you as a former in-house journalist for WikiLeaks, as the guy who worked with such people as Assange and Snowden, as a data journalist, but who were you as a child, and what was your life like?
There weren't a whole bunch of expectations, people kind of wanted me to do well and wanted me to try and, stay to school till 18 and maybe go to university, but beyond that, there kind of wasn't too much sense of, oh hey, you've got to do the same job as we did, or we want you to do this particular thing. So I guess it was quite a sort of relaxed, small town kind of thing,
So how did you end up in a journalism school?
I did politics and economics for my first degree, and I did it at Oxford, which kind of has a lot of people from very sort of wealthy backgrounds who went to private schools, and I kind of just almost wrote it off. It was kind of, I enjoy doing this, I don't think I'm bad at it, but these guys are going to take over the world, and it's a hobby for me, and I'll go do something else. And I very nearly missed one of my final exams because I was so determined to finish getting this magazine I was working on away. I nearly missed my exam sending this, and I was sort of running to my exam, and I kind of just thought, maybe I should think about journalism again, because I kind of seemed to care about it more than my degree. I just risked 3 years of my degree.
So what appealed to you in journalism?
I think what got me started with it was just this sense of trying to learn about something new quite quickly and synthesize it and make sense of it. And I really liked kind of the old quote about journalism is what someone somewhere doesn't want you to write, everything else is advertising. I like that ability to sort of cause a little bit of trouble in a good cause. It's a lot more fun than a regular job.
So let's move on to WikiLeaks. How did you get into there?
I was working at a little not-for-profit newsroom, and one guy on our advisory board also sort of ran journalism conferences, and he'd invited Assange to a conference he ran a year or so before and had stayed in touch. And so this guy set up a meeting for us with Assange, and we got the Iraq war logs, and we spent the next couple of months working on those. And I kind of got to know Assange a bit and what he was working on next. And so there kind of came this, we'd chat on the computer on a encrypted chat window, and about sort of 2 o'clock one morning a message essentially pops up going, if you want to work on the next set, you're going to have to work for me. Which is, kind of quit your job, quit your career so far, and go and work for a pretty strange guy in not the world's most reputable organisation. So the reasons to say no are pretty apparent, but on what I then thought would be the biggest story I would ever get a chance to work on.
What was the feeling having so much material in your hand?
I was literally just trying to make basic sense of them. And so actually just sifting through there and thinking, what would I like to look at? What am I thinking about? What would be a good thing to search for in here? And then when you get a hint in one thing, chasing it through the others.
So how did you leave WikiLeaks? There was some story now in there.
So there was a little bit of one. I kind of always said I didn't want to be there for a long time. And I told them when I joined I would do at the absolute most 6 months, and I'd rather do less. I don't think WikiLeaks ever really lived up to the principles that it expected everyone else to. It talked about the danger of secrecy in closed groups in government, and never thought about the dangers of secrecy in itself. It was meant to be a truth-telling organisation, and it would tell lies to cover its ass, and justify it because it needed to, because it was under pressure, which is exactly the same reasons as people in power tell lies. No one wakes up in the morning and thinks, you know what, I'm the bad guy, and I like that. Everyone's got their reasons for what they do, and they just didn't see that. It's kind of called noble cause corruption. And so there just sort of came a point where I'm not proud of what we're doing anymore. The work's good, but the organisation isn't. And it kind of hit the, I'm not going to wait another month or two. I've had it. I'm not doing another day here.
You were mentioned in the US FBI investigation in 2013. So how was that feeling to see your name in such things?
You do worry a bit about some of these things. No one seriously wants to end up sort of subject of big legal proceedings or in prison or whatever. But sometimes you're just annoyed. You just kind of think it's rude. FBI investigation into WikiLeaks, the FBI agents were trying to get information or frankly non-existent dirt on you. So it's like, really? I mean, guys, don't know if you've noticed, but we have terrorism problems, we have money laundering problems, we have drug problems, we have police corruption problems. Really, chasing down a Guardian journalist is the best use of your time and resources. You get a bit offended for priorities.
You spend time with Julian Assange, and you spend time with Greenwald and Laura Poitras and Barack Obama, if I'm right. So
I've covered Obama, yeah.
Can you tell any, like, the funniest story of the time spent with those people?
I can remember sort of trying to cover Obama at, it was one of his campaign speeches, and you're sort of in the pit there. And I kind of saw a familiar looking face out of the corner of my eye, and I was trying to work out whether I knew this woman or why she was familiar. And it was, what's her name from the Daily Show, Samantha Bee. And she was doing a sort of feature about reporters being way too in love with Obama. And she essentially was faking something bordering on an orgasm on the press table about how wonderful the speech was. But of course they had the cameras pointing towards the journalist, and she did it right on my desk. And so I just clocked it was the Daily Show, so I was trying to just absolutely carry on working as if nothing was happening, because I just thought, this is already going to be embarrassing. I don't want to do a single thing that's going to make it worse. And so I'm essentially sitting, staring assiduously at my laptop screen, typing up the speech while it's sort of all hell is breaking loose on the desk in front.
And the last question that I have for you is, what would be your advice for aspiring journalists?
I've got two things really. I think one is, if you want to get hired, don't start by thinking where you want to end up. Start by thinking, how do I get into the kind of places doing work I like? And what skills do they seem to be hiring? You know, what are they looking for? I think the other is sort of good for anyone, and it's, you want to be able at the end of the year to point to 2 or 3 big things, 2 or 3 sort of stories that you think mattered. You know, you'll keep getting better, and you'll keep enjoying it if you're always looking for those 2 or 3. Or maybe, you know, you'll have a horrible breakdown if you don't get them, I don't know. But chasing those 2 or 3 a year, I think, is what's always kept me into it.